2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Welcome to a very special edition of Teaching Crypto. The market has boomed since we last spoke, MrFOMO. Really hot. And LUNA is pushing that magical 110 prediction that I made a month ago. So how about that? Remember, this is your LUNA and VGX channel right here. Very little else besides
it's got until Thursday to make your prediction.
I did predict in February as well, so I'm a little off. But you know how we feel about LUNA long term. In fact, I'm almost ready to push that 500 narrative beyond. Not quite yet, but I really think LUNA at 500 is like a safe bet, guys, for 2024. But anyways,
I'm feeling a thumbnail face coming on with you talking about these new predictions. I don't know. Like,
and remember Friday, I said I was optimistic about the market, and it did come true. We found out today that not only LUNA is buying BTC, but Michael Saylor took out a loan to buy BTC. So in the short term, it's looking pretty good for April. Remember to take profits, everybody, as April hopefully heats up, because we just don't know how long this hot streak is going to last. But again, guys, LUNA to me, if it ever does dip back in below 90, which we don't know if it will, hey, make a good decision there. We warned you that VGX might not be under 2 for very long, and look what happened. It shot right back up. It's now in the it's now in the 2 teens. And once people get their debit cards in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm thinking by June everyone has them. I'm hopeful. Maybe before then. So I think a lot of people are going to get them in April and May. I think there's going to be less inclination to sell. So I think VGX can find a new bottom a little above 2, and then as we get closer to 2024 and beyond, I think we really can go parabolic. And maybe Don was right. Maybe 12 can happen this year if we get an extended run. Who knows? As a top, not saying it's going to hold 12 right now, but I myself, I'm looking for a $3 VGX before the end of April. I feel pretty good about that. So there's another opinion there. So, if you're not a VGX holder, you want to come in and want to take advantage of the VGX going up, be our guest. We've got a
before we get to farm or to harvest finance, I want to say something about LUNA. LUNA just, among this BTC buying, they just hit a new all-time high in their total value locked. And that's another important metric for a lot of people out there. And so when you see that kind of stuff, that means people are locking in, they're staking their LUNA. And, earlier in the year, we had those billionaires staking billions at what, $51?
51 for 4 years.
And we talk about creating new floors. You and I think that LUNA has now created a new floor well beyond that, maybe even in the 70s. Maybe even as high as the 80s, but definitely if you see it dip into the 80s, the 70s, I mean, even the 60s, if you're lucky enough now, not financial advice, obviously, but for me, I'm going to be scooping it up at those prices, maybe even north of that. If I'm not.
I really now see LUNA as same category as I see BTC and VGX over the next 2 to 4 years. Now, Bitcoin is much longer than that. For sure, it's much more established, but I think LUNA is becoming a store of value here because of the tokenomics, because of the burn, because of the supply, because of all the ecosystem, all the stuff we've talked about. The fact that they're going to aggressively keep buying BTC in front of the market, I see LUNA as a great store of value. So you kind of have a lot of options.
I would definitely agree with that, but I also want to switch to VGX, where we both see it as a store of value. But I want to push back a little bit against the narrative that people won't sell. I think that people will still be inclined to sell because they'll get those rewards and then they'll have it sitting there. And if bit above your tier and you see it's pumping, I could see them selling. Or if you need
Hold on, Mr. FOMO. Don't forget though, we are going to have a new VLP. So there's going to be new incentives.
So there's some.
We don't know. We don't know what that's going to bring. My point is now people are going to want to stay in their tiers. And if there's some tasty rewards for coming up, let's say NFT exclusive NFTs and other exclusive rewards, maybe with the stocks too, that you don't get in some of the smaller tiers, if they're really going to make it worthwhile for people to hold the tiers. And if you're a high spender, you have a relative that owns a restaurant, 3% versus 2%, he's probably going to want to get in that upper tier. That 3% makes sense.
I would agree with that. The tiers are the things that, the VLP is the thing that I think keeps people from selling their VGX. But I also think that, I don't necessarily think that.
And let's not forget one thing. You want to get to the 50,000 tokens. Hold on. This is really important. You want to get to the 50,000 tokens. So if you're running late for work, or concierge can call your boss and tell them you're going to be late. You don't have to.
If I have 50,000 VGX, there is no boss. There is no job. There is no driving to work. There's no, I'm going to be late. I need you to call. No. That's not happening. No, but
okay.
With VGX and the tiers, they haven't offered that exclusivity yet on anything, and I think that's something that's upset some of the people who hold VGX and were excited about the VLP, is that there isn't that exclusivity. I think there was that what was that chance at the Banksy at one point back in, what was it, December, January, something like that.
December.
And it wasn't exclusively offered to VLP members, not even at any of the tiers. It just wasn't offered exclusivity at all. And so until I see them doing that, until I see something about the VLP and maybe the VLP offering exclusivity to those things at certain levels, I don't know that it's necessarily more incentivized. I think people will still sell.
Well, we'll see. We'll agree to disagree for now. We'll have to wait and see what that VLP comes out as. We'll have to see how valuable the debit card makes the tier. So we'll wait and see on that. I'm bullish on VGX long term, but I'm bullish in April, because I think you will have enough people with the cards in their hands, and they'll be talk about sentiment and social media. They'll be posting the rewards they'll be getting back. It helps with the trades, but now you're paying your bills. Like I said, you pay your mortgage, you get 3% back. That's, and you get 2,300 VGX back, which is amazing if you end up spending that much. If you have a business, it's possible. You have a token that you brought up as a flip, and it's got a very low market cap. And just in case, our viewers were interested in a smaller cap token, why don't you tell us a little bit about Farm really quickly?
Harvest Finance is a smaller caps, around 80 million. And it has a very low circulating supply when you look at full farm tokens. I think it's it disappeared and reappeared this week on Voyager, and we probably need to look a little bit further into that. That could be a red flag a little bit, but according to them, it's 690,000 in the total circulating supply. But somebody on one of our viewers on YouTube made a great point that when you're arguing circulating supply, it's kind of a moot point when those tokens are divisible. And then when you look at certain tokens or certain coins, like Farm goes 5 decimal places to the right. And even Bitcoin, 6 decimal places to the right. And so now you're talking about a divisibility factor there that may come into play. And so you're not actually talking about 690,000 farm tokens. Technically, you're talking about somewhere around 69 billion. And so it can be a little deceiving, because some tokens and some coins don't allow their decimal points to ride that far. And so I thought that was, and I'm not talking about price points, I'm talking about the divisibility of the token or the coin. When you look at it, and when you look at your ability to knock it down to a Satoshi, how many decimal points are you talking there? And so I thought that was a really, really interesting point. And I thought that I would bring that up because it puts a new perspective on circulating supply, especially when tokens are divisible and coins are divisible.
Yeah, for me, this is something that I would look to flip or be in short term. Just don't have enough confidence in it long term. So the low market cap's interesting.
And
The volume's okay,
out,
nothing special.
it's been hanging out around $1 for the last couple of weeks with periodic pumps as high as 150 something. And
listen,
then
I think a lot of low caps might be interesting buys in April. So this one to me, I just honestly need to see a little more about it. It's not very well known, but hey, low market caps are low market caps.
But again, I love the idea. It's like, again, a lot like Yearn Finance. They allow their holders to move their stake tokens to the highest yield every time. And so when you're talking about staking, that's obviously the best option because you don't have to manage it anymore. You've got somebody else managing it for you and moving it to the best whenever they find it. So I love the idea.
So I want to actually bring up a different token. Not going to do a full review.
I know
but, Waves is very interesting, and we had this discussion off air. It just kind of showed up on Voyager recently, and it's involved in Web 3.0 and decentralized applications. And it has this month been performing unbelievably, up 331%. Now it's not a well-known token, but listen to this, Mr. FOMO. Volume today, 1.6 billion for a token. A lot of people, unless you're really into crypto, have no idea what it is. That's a lot. And so I felt the need to bring it up.
Why is the volume high though? Where are they based?
Well, there's a Russian connection, but I don't want to dig too deep, but I did want to have our viewers maybe look into that themselves and see. Right now it has pumped a lot, so you have to be careful.
When you see a company that is based in Russia that has Russian ties, at least, and you see, what Russia's going through in their economy right now, it makes a lot of sense to me that you would see the volume up on a crypto like that, especially with what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, people not being able to access their money through the banks. I would imagine the smart money's looking for ways to get around that.
Yeah, so just interesting. Put that on your radar, guys, especially if we take a little bit of a dip. I'm not saying a huge dip, but let's say we retrace a couple thousand BTC and you have confidence April's going to be a good month. Things like Waves, which have done well so far and might still have room to grow, might be something to look into. We have a very exciting Friday coming up. In fact, we might do a mini draft. We will see, just for the month of April. What are
April Fool's Day crypto draft? I love it.
Yeah, guys, we're up to 57 viewers. Let's push it to 60. Hit that like button, please share for as many people as you can, whether they're in crypto or not. Let's get more people educated about the opportunity to make some money and better your life. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya.